welcome to this week's Ag Report. So this week we're going to kind of change gears a little bit. Normally we try and do current events or activities that are happening around Ellis County to try and keep you informed. But today we thought we'd shift gears a little bit, and I'd just share a little bit about where I came from as far as my agriculture career, and maybe a time that of joy or that first good crop. So reminisce with me, if you will, days of old, you might say. So I started baling hay in 1989. Started row crop farming in 1994. So as you can imagine, Waxahachie and Ellis County does not look like it did back in those days. And so I just want to kind of share with you a little snapshot of years ago. When I started, I had a John Deere Model 55 combine. It was called a squareback. Those of you guys that have been around a while, you'll know what I mean. They made two versions. They made a round back and a square back. But I had a square back, had a 14-foot header on it, and just proud as a peacock to have that machine. It was my first combine, and for those of you that maybe don't understand that, it's kind of like getting your maybe your first vehicle or something like that. A combine to a farmer means you can harvest your own crop, and for me, harvest is my favorite time of year. It's my favorite place to be is in the combine harvesting that crop, especially when it's a good crop. So this particular year, this was really my first good crop. I had a crop of milo. We've talked about milo. It can be called milo, maize, grain sorghum, that kind of stuff. Has the red heads that come up. Dove hunters love to hunt behind it. Also makes you very itchy. Those of you guys that have cut milo, you understand. You cut milo for a day and you're going to itch for 2 or 3 days. So anyways, but I was on 813. It's called Brown Street now. It was the field. I used to farm all the fields around the old Waxahachie Junior High School. I say old, those of us, that's how we kind of date things, I guess. I believe it is called Finley Junior High now. This would be the land that is sitting underneath the Brown Street Church of Christ and all of those houses going back northward. So I had that planted in milo, made about 4,500 pounds to the acre, which is a pretty good crop, especially, in those days, that was a pretty good crop. And for a 55 model combine, that was a really good crop. That combine was loaded up, I assure you. And so I'm going to use some terms for you. You older guys, you understand. Newer guys with your yield monitors and everything like that maybe don't understand. So a 55 combine was built in the early 60s, okay, 1960s. No electronics whatsoever. About the only electronic on the thing was a light switch, turn on 2 headlights in the front, and the key to turn on the electric starter. Everything else was levers, and you had to have some muscles to work at that kind of stuff. And so the yield monitor, and you older guys, you kind of grin, you understand. You turned around, there was a window behind you if you had a cab. If you didn't have a cab, you could just turn around, and the grain tank was right behind you, and had an auger coming in there. And I'm going to use a very professional term. It's called whooping in. Okay, whooping. I don't know how you spell that or if that's in the dictionary, but you would turn around and you look, and if you were in a good crop, it would be whooping in. And so you got real excited when it was whooping in and kind of looking like a volcano back there. And so the other thing is, now I'm being technical here, you would kind of time how long it took to fill up that tank back there. On a 55 combine, it would only hold about 50 bushels of grain. And again, remember I was telling you it's right behind you. That's with you getting back there and raking it around so you don't spill any and you get it out into the corners, okay? Now, let me put that in comparison. 50 bushels. Combines now hold 250 to 300 bushels, something like that, okay? So it's whooping in back there, and it's filling up in about 10 minutes back there. That's pretty good. You're running to that truck back and forth. Man, I was just so excited. Going in about first gear, high, just kind of crawling around. Hey, it was the best of times, cutting it. It was itchy, but it was good stuff. And so that was kind of the first time that I had made a really good crop and was just so excited. You got to remember cutting this stuff in August, so it's plenty hot, but you don't care. You're happy to be there. You're excited. You're itching. That's all right. But it's coming in and it's good stuff. It's good times. Now, I have to also say, we all have to start somewhere. That was the combine I started with. I didn't have an 18-wheel truck, semi like I do now to haul with. I didn't have a big bobtail truck like I do now to haul with. I hauled with a 4-wheel wagon, okay? It was a John Deere wagon. I'll give you a little backstory. Some of you guys may know these people and may remember it. So it was a 4-wheel wagon. Us older folks call it a wiggle wagon because you go over about 20 miles an hour and it wiggles back and forth to the left a whole lot, and you can turn it over. And some of you guys have turned them over before. I can see y'all shaking your head. I understand. But so that wagon, little story there. The Avenue Church that is out on 77, they were called Ferris Avenue Church, and they were up off of Ferris Avenue behind the Mangan's Cafe and next to Rip's Barbecue, for those of you that have been around here a while. So the founder of that church was named Herman Rice. Well, as the founder of the church, he had a regular job, and he worked for Staffordson John Deere, which was in downtown Waxahachie across from the jail complex. There is a stone front building that is a bail bonds. That was the Staffordson John Deere. So Mr. Rice, Herman Rice, was the parts manager there at the John Deere dealer. He also had a farm in Lone Elm, and he bought that wagon for his farm. So years later, when I started farming, I bought that wagon from him and kind of fixed it up to where I could start hauling grain with it. So I hauled grain to the elevator, which at that time, that elevator was, it is now called the feed store down under the railroad tracks. If you look at the old part of that building, which is across from the Fresh Market Cafe there, you will see a little carport that it looks like. Well, that was actually the scale house. And so I would pull that wagon right under that little carport right there, and they would weigh it. I'd go in the little side door. There's a little atrium kind of thing there where the scale is. There's a great big Toledo scale. They would stick the paper in there and punch the weight, and then I would pull off the scales and go around back and wait in line to get dumped. Now, this is a wagon. All of these old pits had winch systems on it. So when you pulled up there, the front wheels went on the little winch system on the carrier. They would unhook it from the truck, and they would pick it up at a 45-degree angle, and all the grain would come out, and they'd lower it down, hook it back on the truck, and then I'd go back to the field and fill it up again. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this walk down memory lane with me and kind of giving y'all a glimpse of what Waxahachie and Ellis County used to look like. A lot of the places that I've farmed, and certainly my peers, those guys that have been here longer than I have. A lot of the places that they have farmed are no longer there. But when I still drive down Brown Street, I can still see under those houses that field. I can remember, working that land. I can remember the wet spots. Some of you people have swimming pools where there used to be wet spots that I'd have to go around in a wet year, that kind of stuff. But anyways, the eyes of a farmer as he drives down the road, looking at things as progress continues and things change. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed today. I've enjoyed kind of sharing with you some of the things that I've seen in my lifetime change and kind of reminiscing there. So we hope to see you next week. We enjoyed talking to you. Y'all take care now.